guys, and welcome back to my channel. I haven't said that in quite some time. Just a quick explanation. I did get a new job right when I started my channel, and just the back and forth hours were too much for me to handle filming and doing all that, so I kind of made the choice to stop posting videos. But right now, with my hours being cut down to like 20 hours, I have plenty of time on my hands, so I thought I would bring back the YouTube channel for you guys. You probably, not everybody probably cares, but if you do, that's cool. Thanks for the support. Today, I figured with everybody in quarantine or social distancing, whatever you want to call it, I figured a lot of people were probably bored, and so I wanted to make a video about learning how to knit. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to cast on, which is start your project, the knit stitch and the purl stitch, which are the two basic knitting stitches, and how to cast off. I have a few tips before we start. So if you are going to do this and learn how to knit, I recommend getting larger size needles, so either a 15, a 17, or even larger, which these are kind of obnoxious, but a 15, 17, they're going to be really great because when you use bigger needles and bigger yarn, it's a lot easier to see what you're doing, and therefore easier for you to learn how to knit. Another tip is, if you're going to possibly be doing knitting for a little while, I would recommend getting the bamboo needles. They're a little bit quieter than the aluminum. These ones can get pretty annoying when you're knitting, especially if you're trying to watch a show. Which brings me to my next point. Knitting is great during the quarantine because you can watch movies, you can watch shows, you can Netflix binge, you can watch movies, you can watch shows, you can binge on Netflix and do other things while you're knitting. So it's kind of a great little hobby to have to pass the time, and honestly, you're making something really cool while you're doing it, so why not? Whether you want to learn how to knit as a hobby or, just something to do to pass the time, knitting is great. You can make Christmas gifts, you can sell your items on Etsy. So today we're going to learn how to make a scarf, which is pretty basic. You can do this with both of the stitches that I teach you today, or you can use just one of the stitches, whatever you feel comfortable with. But by the end of the video, I'll teach you how to also cast off and show you how to end your scarf. And one other thing I did forget to mention, I realized that a lot of people are trying to avoid grocery stores and things like that right now. You can find all these products at Walmart, so if you go to the grocery store, you are able to get them. But I also linked them down below on Amazon, and if you have Prime, you'll probably get them in a few days, which, if you're in quarantine, will probably be sufficient. So I will be sure to link those down below. We're gonna jump right into the video. I'm gonna put you guys on the table cam, and I'll be back at the end of the video. So for your first step of casting on, you're only gonna need one needle, and you're going to need your yarn. What you're gonna do is you're going to create a tail. So this is the tail end of your yarn, the piece that you cannot knit with. And we are today probably going to make about a scarf about this wide. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to have your tail be about 2 to 3 times the length of that. I usually do a little longer just because it makes me feel more secure, but that is up to you. So I'm going to do mine about here, so I have a nice long tail. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the yarn like so. So I am holding... Let me unravel this. I am holding both pieces of yarn with these 3 fingers. Now, if you find a better way to do it later for yourself, that's fine, but this is how I do it. So you take the yarn and you hold it like this, and you're holding the yarn with these fingers, okay? Make sure you set your tail off to the side because you don't want to knit with your tail later on. Because you'll run out of yarn really, really fast. Okay. So then you're going to take your needle and you'll put it under the yarn. Put it under the yarn. And what you're going to do is, if it helps, you can hold the yarn so it doesn't move. You're going to pull back and have your yarn like this. You're going to put this needle under the thumb needle and around the finger needle and through this hole. Now I know that was a little complicated, so I'm going to show you again. You're going to separate under the thumb needle, around, you're going to go around your finger, and then you're going to go through this hole right here. So you're going to go through the hole. Under, around, through the hole. Under this one, around this one, through the hole. And I'll do it a little closer. Okay? You're going to turn your thumb. It might be a little easier. Under the thumb, around the finger one, and through this hole. And I'm going to go ahead and do 16 stitches. So I'm at 6 right now. So I'll speed this up for you. Okay, so now I have 16 stitches. Make sure you double count because some patterns, as you get more advanced, you have to be very precise. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. One thing to note is when we go to do our first stitch, we're about to learn how to do the knit stitch. When you do that, the first row that you knit after you cast on is going to be very tough to knit because most people, when they cast on a little tighter. As you get used to knitting, you may cast on a little bit looser, so it might be a little easier for you. But we are going to learn how to do the knit stitch next. So you're going to take your first stitch, okay? And you're going to put your needle through the bottom, and this is what it's going to look like. I'm turning it for you. You're going to put it through the bottom of the first stitch. Then you're going to take your yarn that's connected to the ball, not the tail, and you're going to wrap it around your needle. Wrap it around your needle, and then you're going to pull the bottom needle through this hole right here. You want to make sure that the yarn is on this second needle now, and you're going to pull off. Again, this is your second stitch. You're going to go under, wrap it around, and through this hole on the bottom. If you don't have a stitch on here when you're wrapping it around, then you did something wrong. So you're going to do under, and like I said, it can be tight the first round if you don't cast on loosely. Wrap it around the bottom one, and then flick it through there. Under, wrap it around, and put it through the hole. And I'm going to do the rest of those stitches right now and a second row of knit stitch. There's the first row. I'm going to go ahead and do the second row, which should be a little bit easier for you to knit. You're just going to switch over to the other needle now. Under, wrap it around through the hole. Under, wrap it around through the hole. All right, there is our second row, and I actually lied. I'm gonna do one more knit stitch row, and then I'll show you how to purl. So now we have 3 knit rows, and this is what it looks like. So what happens is when you knit the knit stitch over and over again, it's going to create a ribbing effect. So I'm not sure if you can see, but this row is raised, and then the second row is indented, and then the third row is going to be raised. I don't know if you can see that. It's a rib pattern. This side's a little easier to see. And if you continue to do the knit stitch, it will just continue to rib. And then when you do the purl stitch, if you want to have just a flat pattern scarf, you can do knit stitch on one side, purl stitch on the other side, and it will not rib. So next I'm going to show you how to do the purl stitch, and then once I show you, I'm going to do 3 rows of the purl stitch like I did the knit stitch. So for purl stitching, what you're going to do is literally the opposite of knit stitch. So you're going to come from the back side instead of the front side. You're going to come under this stitch, wrap it around, and flick it through that hole. So it's literally the opposite of the knit stitch. You're going to come from the bottom instead, and you're going to come through the front and flick it under. Come from the front, it's hard to do. Wrap it around, flick it under. Come from the front, wrap it around, flick it under. And I'm trying to get this so that you can see what I'm doing. So this is my second needle, and I flicked it through the front. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around that second needle, and then I'm going to come in from the back. I'm going to flick it through this hole and pull it off. Wait, backwards. Wrap it around and then flick it through here, through the front, wrap it around, and then flick it through here. So through the front, wrap it around, pull it through the hole. Wrap it around, pull it through the hole. I'm gonna do 3 rows. All right, there we have it. And just so you guys know, my needles don't usually move around that much. I'm just like kind of standing here trying to knit without leaning them on anything, so it's kind of a little bit more difficult. But you see we have this really cool ribbed pattern. So we knitted three rows, and we purled 3 rows. And this is the back side, which also has a cool ribbing. I don't know if you can see it. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a few more rows off camera, and then I will come back once it's a little bit longer, and I'll show you how to cast off. Okay, so I officially have knitted another 3 rows of knit stitch, another 3 rows of purl stitch, and we have this really cool ribbing going on. It's a little hard to see in the camera, but this is what the other side looks like. And I am now going to show you how to cast off. So basically what this means is when you're finished with your scarf, this is the way that you're going to complete it, and so that it's tight and secure. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your yarn and you're going to do a knit stitch, 1 knit stitch, and then you're going to do another knit stitch, and then you're going to forget about this needle for a minute, the needle with all the stuff on it. You're going to take the bottom stitch and you're going to pull it over top of the other stitch and pull it off. So you have 1 stitch. Then you're going to pick these back up and you're going to knit 1 more stitch. Then you're going to drop these needles. You're going to take the needle or the yarn that's in the back, and you're going to pull it over the one that's on the top, and you're going to pull it off. Then you're going to do your next stitch. Oh, what happened to this guy? You're going to knit, and then you're going to take the back and pull it over the front. Then you're going to knit your next stitch, take the bottom one, pull it over the top one. and so on and so on. And I'm gonna finish this row, and then I'll show you what comes next. Okay, so we're on to our last 2 stitches. So you're gonna get rid of this needle, you don't need it anymore. You're gonna do the same thing, you're gonna pull this one over this one, and then that's it. My bad. Okay, so here is what your thing looks like, your little scarf. He's a little wonky right now, but it's just because it's tight. Okay, so you have your scarf. Don't worry. If you were to keep going, this would kind of pan out. I did it quickly, so it's not looking great, but next you're gonna pull this a little bit so you know where your hole is, and then you can go ahead and you can cut your yarn and get rid of that. Then you're gonna take your tail and you're gonna pull it through your hole and pull it tight. And then you can trim, and whatever you have left over, like little weavings, if you want to, you can get a needle and weave it up the side, or you can just cut it. It's whatever you like to do. And this is your finished scarf. Okay, here is our finished product. We are all done. Now, if you're making a scarf, you're gonna wanna go way longer than this. And something I found is a lot of times when people make scarves for the first time, they make them a little bit too short or a little bit too long. Just like think about while you're making the scarf, like you probably want it to wrap around one time. So just keep that in mind when you're doing it. I hope you guys like this video. If you do want to see more knitting videos, I can teach you guys some other things, so just let me know. If you have any questions, you can comment down below, or you can message me on my Instagram, which is Lo's Little Blog. And yeah, everybody stay happy, healthy, and safe. Make sure you're practicing your social distancing when you can. If you do have to work, make sure that you're being careful and staying healthy. And I hope you guys like this video. Subscribe, like, and hit my bell so you get my notifications for new videos. I will be trying to post like 1 a week, but we'll see if I can stick to it. Thank you guys for joining me today. I know my video quality is a little bit ratchet, so don't come for me. I will get there, honey. But I really appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you have a really great day. Bye.